Funding individuals through their training for gospel ministry is an important area of the Trust's work. Funding is important for the following reasons. Firstly, it's simply a recognition of the significant costs for an individual or family of investing in training for ministry. Secondly, funding enables an individual not to cut corners, to get to the start line, if you like, too soon. It allows them to get the training that they need for a lifetime of ministry. And thirdly, funding raises the importance or profile of training in a local church. When a local church is invested financially in someone's training, it is invested in all sorts of other ways in that individual. In making its funding decisions, the Bonner Trust employs three principles. Firstly, does the individual have a financial need? Secondly, is the individual enrolled in a rigorous training program in a local church? And thirdly, is the Bonner Trust grant matched by the local church? Now, matched funding is really, really important. It means that the local church takes responsibility for the individual's training. And what we find is that the Bonner Trust grant, matched by funding from the local church, is often a catalyst to other sources of funding, whether from gospel patrons, other trusts, or from individuals. Now, the Bonner Trust is currently funding at a level of around about £300,000 per annum. In the past year, we received £400,000 worth of applications. And so what we're beginning to see is the ministry need is ahead of the funding capacity. That's a good position to be in. The Bonner Trust has set an annual target of Bonner Trust funding of £500,000. And that £500,000, matched by the local church and as a catalyst to other sources of funding, is, we believe, the level of funding that will sustain a long-term investment in training gospel workers in Scotland that is commensurate with the gospel need. So funding is really important. Now, like all of these videos, they are filmed in historic sites for the gospel in Scotland. Here we are outside St Peter's Church in Dundee, the church where Robert Murray McCheyne was the first minister back in the 19th century. His grave is behind me. But St Peter's is not simply a church of historic significance. It is a living gospel church with a vision in the 21st century for planting churches and training gospel workers. The assistant minister in St Peter's was funded by the Bonner Trust through his training. And recently, St Peter's planted Charleston Community Church into one of the housing schemes in Dundee. The church leader in Charleston Community Church was funded by the Bonner Trust through his training in Edinburgh. And Charleston Community Church has just completed the training of another person, again funded by the Bonner Trust through their training. Now, that's just one example of how the investment of the Trust financially in individuals' training makes a significant difference that is being seen in the gospel landscape in Scotland. Funding is important. Funding really matters.